Hello, hello, everyone, and happy Monday. This is your co-host, Kelsey Aida. I'm an inspirational blogger and author, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, Miss Lynnsey Robinson, who is a super
Hey.
badass hypnotherapist. And basically, the two of us are here to help you live your best life, meaning we are always talking about how to manifest your desires, how to come into alignment with your higher self, some magical witchy things, which we'll definitely get into today, some fun life advice, positive psychology, reprogramming your beliefs. So that's basically what we're about. We have like a genuine desire to, whenever we find things that help us live better lives, we always want to share them as opposed to hoard them, because what would be the point of that? We all got to help each other on this crazy journey called life. So here we are every Monday on this show, just talking about fun stuff. Do you want to say hi, Linz?
Yes, but I have a plane over my house, so I muted myself. Hopefully it's not too bothersome. I live near like some kind of Air Force base or something. But hi guys. Yes, I am Lynnsey, certified hypnotherapist, mindset coach. Is it really distracting? Kelsey,
Only a little bit.
Just talk.
It's funny, you guys, how we record this show. So basically how it happens is Lynnsey and I hop on a Zoom call because I live in Columbus, Ohio. She lives in Las Vegas, Nevada. And so we get on our computers and then we record it from our houses. So I'm just like sitting in my kitchen right now. Lynnsey's sitting in her at-home office. And this is how we do it every week, which is pretty fun. I mean, technology is amazing that we can get our word out just from home. And a hilarious fun fact about Lynnsey and I, we have been best friends for a few years now, and we've actually never met in real life.
Not IRL yet, but she's the jet setter of us because I have 3 children and I don't get out much. So I'm like, come here, come visit me. I have lots of room in this house. You can stay in our spare bedroom. It'll be so fun.
Yeah.
My kids and my husband won't know what hit him when we get together, but it'll be fine.
They're going to be like, why do they never stop giggling? It's so loud and annoying in here.
I thought my mom was more mature. Anyway, so yeah, the jet is gone. Thanks everyone for being patient. And thank you, Kelsey, for filling the silence. Cause I just was like, it's just way too loud. It shakes my house sometimes. It's so loud, but, yeah, we're just here trying to live our best lives and help you do the same thing. We've learned a lot in our travels and in my training as a hypnotherapist, and lots of ways to shift perspective. And it's really fun to talk about and to help people with. Yeah. So today, what are we talking about today? Don't we have stuff to talk about?
Yeah, today's topic is tarot cards, which of course is a very fun, mystical, magical way to get in touch with your spirit team, to get some guidance about your life, to get some clarity on what's going on, what has been going on, where you're going. Basically, tarot cards are a medium for connecting with your higher self or your spirit team, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. It's an intuitive process of shuffling these cards, and then by way of the law of attraction, the correct cards that have the messages that you need to hear in that moment will always, always, always come out in perfect divine timing to help guide you through whatever you're going through. So I started reading tarot like 2 years ago, probably. And there was this lady who used to always read my tarot cards. Shout out to Maria. I love her. She's a very intuitive, very amazing, respectable woman. And she's a psychic medium, and she used to always read my cards growing up when I was going through like a hard time. And basically, when she would read the cards, she would make me cry because it was so spot on, everything that she was saying about my life and my struggles and what I wanted and how to get there and where I was going. And basically the cards were just a way to help me sleep better at night, because they would say things like, you're headed in the right direction, you can't fuck up your life, you've got this, your desires are coming to fruition in time. Like, it was very reassuring. So it helped to soothe my anxiety. And so after getting my cards read a couple times from her and other people, I wanted to do it. Like, I was like, this is really cool. I want to learn how to do this. And so I asked for a deck of tarot cards for Christmas about 2 years ago. My family gave me my first set. And that Christmas, I just started pulling cards because I had seen it done before. I kind of knew the gist of how to do it. And I started doing readings for all my cousins and all my family that was there and all my friends. And like, I've never had a bad reading or a reading that didn't make perfect sense or like blow someone's mind. So basically, my role in the reading is to be a channel, basically, the medium between the spirit realm and the 3D realm, to be a messenger for you from your spirit team to you through the cards. Because the law of attraction will make sure that the right cards come out. I use my intuition to pick the cards and then to decipher what they mean and then give people those messages. So yeah, I found it to be a really helpful way to just help people on their journey and give clarity and guidance and support. So now I do it as part of a professional service, I guess. It's like the cheapest way that people can work with me one-on-one via video chat is to do a tarot reading. So I do that a bunch, and sometimes people cry because they're so happy about what happened. Sometimes it's confrontational because people are like, oh shit, I definitely knew that that's what I'm supposed to do, but I'm not actually doing it. Sometimes it's encouraging. It just depends on the reading, but they're always great.
Now, I am not that familiar with, I mean, I don't know. I draw cards for myself, like I said in my Instagram story today, for any of you that saw it. I do draw cards for myself. I work more with like the oracle cards because I feel like it's just really cute and fun, and there's really pretty decks out there. I draw some for my hypnosis clients sometimes, but I'm not really like, I would never call myself like an expert in tarot or a tarot card reader or anything. But I do know that from the outside looking in, there's this huge stigma about tarot and about like any kind of fortune telling, which is so silly to even call it that. But I mean, it's silly to call it fortune telling because of the connotation that fortune telling has, but it's also silly because the idea of telling your fortune implicates that when I draw this card for you, this is your future and there's no other choice. But that's obviously not true. And that's part of the misconception and the myth and the mysticism around tarot. I like to think of it like hypnosis, but it's even more mystical than hypnosis, which there's not a lot of stuff out there that seems more mysterious than what I do, because I always get the people that are like, what do you do? What is this? And so when I see something that to me is a little bit more out there than hypnosis, it's like, But I am a fan of tarot. I know what it can do for you. And really it's just, it's a way for you to get more clarity around a situation. It's a way for you to get more understanding, maybe hear something that you don't want to hear, but just by drawing the card, you know that you're supposed to hear it. It's all about intention, just like everything else, right? But let's talk about like the myths and stuff around it. Just one that I want to throw out there because I've heard it so many times I can't even count. What do you say to people, or what would you say to people that say like, well, tarot is the devil, or tarot is the occult, or tarot is evil, or whatever this adjective might be? What would you say to that?
Yeah, great question. I think people are just scared of what they don't understand, because to me, drawing tarot cards had like, because of my intention behind pulling the cards, because my intention is to help people, to help soothe their anxiety, to give them hope, to guide them in the right direction. It's all from a high vibrational place. There's nothing evil or scary about it. I'm literally pulling cards to get in touch with your spirit team to help you from a kind, compassionate, loving place. I can see how maybe there are people who practice quote unquote black magic or into darker things that would use tarot as a way to, I don't know, scare you into thinking that your life is going to go in a certain timeline, or to manipulate your decisions or something like that. And in that case, yeah, it would be bad. Like I would never get a reading from someone like that, obviously.
Exactly. Like you pick your doctor, if you don't, not every single doctor in the world is going to be a good human for you to work with. So just like with doctors and dentists and any kind of professional, you need to find someone that fits you and fits your vibe. And same thing with what I do. Like there's tons of people out there practicing hypnosis that may or may not have the ability to do it, but they do it because it's unregulated. So good on them. I'm not, definitely not trying to throw anybody under the bus at all, but I do tell people, make sure you vibe with this person. Make sure you ask about what their training is and what their goal is when it comes to working with you too. Because, you know, you could go to anybody and they'll draw you cards and they could make it up because there's no way to know, you know? So it's just about going to somebody that you trust, going to somebody that you think is professional, and somebody that really speaks to your intuition. And everybody has this ability, this inner compass. And if they just don't feel right, don't do it.
Yeah. And as far as like any sort of witchery being labeled as like evil, that just goes back all the way back in time. We would have to study history more to explain how things got so twisted, and magic and metaphysics and being connected with nature and crystals and plant medicine and tarot all became warped into like this bad thing. Like literally a witch is, well, a good witch, let's just decipher, I suppose, is somebody who lives their life with intention, usually a woman who's very connected to nature, someone who has psychic abilities, somebody who does their best to align with their higher self and love all people. And a spell is essentially just like calling something with intention. It's doing a ritual for the purpose of manifesting a certain outcome or experience, which everyone who listens to this show practices to some degree, or they want to. That's why you're here listening, how to manifest your life. So, I mean, I call myself a witch all the time. It really triggers people, which is hilarious.
It really does.
It really, really triggers people. And then they're like, they're either scared or they're intrigued. And like, if anyone's scared when I say that, I'm just like, I do not need this person in my life, because shit's about to get weird, because when you hang out with me, weird magical stuff happens all the time. So they're either going to need to get on board, or
and I would add something to that. It's okay to be scared and apprehensive as long as you're willing to learn. But if you're scared and you are getting defensive and attacking, that's when, you know, exits over there. And it's this, it truly, like, they are so closely connected. Like, I've had these conversations so many times. Right now it's about tarot, but years ago, and still sometimes it's about hypnosis. Like, I will talk to anybody about what I do if they're open to learning. I'm never going to force it down their throat. Why would I do that? It's not helping me. It's not helping them. But if you're open to learning and open to kind of broadening your mind, let's chat, let's have a talk, and let's change your life.
Yeah. And like, going back to the whole witch thing, to me, a witch or a mystical person is just an alchemist, which is somebody who can transmute and transform energy. So when you transform your thought into a thing by way of manifesting intentionally, that would be something that I would call magic or witchery, even though it can all be explained by quantum physics and science. And it's also very real life. We're not just making up all this woo-woo stuff. There's just different perspectives that you can see it from. You can see it from a more spiritual perspective, or you can see it from a more scientific perspective. But at the end of the day, like, it's what's going on. You do get to create your experience. So that's
and luckily, where we are now, and I think in our evolution and our existence, is more people are not shutting down so quickly at the thought of creating your own reality and not depending on these outside whatever to kind of guide you and give you the answer. You know, we have to figure it out for ourselves. And I think that more people are becoming more open and okay with and actually encouraged by that thought that, hey, I could do this myself.
Yeah, because it's empowering.
Yeah.
And everyone likes to feel empowered and step into their power, which is why we're here. So yeah, going back to tarot, what do we want to know about it? What are we
the thing that I want to throw out there, because I was curious how old this tarot actually was, because you always see like these movies of like gypsies in the tarot, but the gypsies didn't come up with the tarot. It was like somewhere when I Googled it, and I checked like 4 or 5 different websites because I'm a researcher on Google. But like Italy, somewhere in Europe in like the 1300s or the 14th century or something like that. It's been around a long time, and it hasn't gone anywhere. So where do you think this comes from? Like, why do you think people are so drawn to it? Because I will tell you, just like you said, people are either afraid or intrigued. And every single time when you mention tarot, their face does one of 2 things. Either gets like smile, like really, or it's like scared, eyes go big, and they just kind of freeze, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" And that's when usually the people that'll say like, "Oh, it's the devil," whatever. But it's intriguing. It's something that people are drawn to, just like the Ouija board, just like, you know, even the magic 8 ball when you're a kid. You want to like
a magic 8 ball is kind of similar to tarot. Ouija boards
dissimilar.
Don't fuck with Ouija boards. Let's just put that out there. Don't fuck with that shit.
Okay, but that's a conversation, because I had a glow in the dark Ouija board when I was a kid, and I loved that thing so much. We need to talk about Ouija board when we have time, because
we'll talk about that when we come back from break.
Did you have a bad experience as a kid?
No, I just know better.
See, with the Ouija board. But you can't sit here and tell people like, well, they're just scared because they don't know about it. And then when I mention Ouija, no, it's the devil.
It's not the devil, but a Ouija board, you're not being very intentional. You're just inviting in whatever spirits. That would be like opening your door and saying, anyone come into my house.
Well, that's why some people that do Ouija board are like, open their door and say, only people who have good intentions can come through this door. You can easily do that. You can do that with
there are ways to be smarter about it, but in general, I just don't get involved in that. Especially because I am like an open vessel at times, so I guard my energy like very carefully, because I don't want to become a channel for some entity that I don't want attached to me or in my field in any way. So I just don't fuck with that. So I suggest people don't. But that was something good to bring up, because I think people wonder.
I mean, I didn't know that about you at all. So I'm learning.
Know that I've never used a Ouija board, and I never will.
Dude, I used to be so obsessed with my Ouija board. But my husband, or not my husband, holy crap, my boyfriend at the time in high school was like, I cannot date you if you have a Ouija board. And I was young and silly, so I like threw it away or something. But yeah,
well, you hear all these stories.
I don't necessarily have a desire to like get another one, but I never had anything go wrong with mine. I don't know.
Well, that's
probably. I've heard stories. I would love to hear the listeners' stories. If anybody's got a crazy Ouija board story, please tell me, because I love that stuff.
Please tell Lynnsey. She wants to
tell me all of it. As long as it wasn't like too crazy. But I don't know. I have friends who believe in all kinds of stuff that I don't necessarily subscribe to. So I don't know. I'm open to learning anything, for sure.
To me, it just seems like a darkness that doesn't need to be messed with.
But why does it have to be dark?
It doesn't. I guess it can be a way to like connect with loved ones and stuff if you don't have a different
cheaper than Teresa Caputo.
Yeah, if you're not a psychic medium and you don't get messages via sound or sight or in your body, then I guess the board would be a medium to get messages through. But I think people just don't know enough about it to use it properly. So that's when they get in trouble, and then ghosts come and haunt them and fuck with them and play tricks on them, which I mean, I totally would if I was dead and you were just summoning randos. I'd be like, coming on in. I'm going to fuck with you guys because I'm bored.
See, this is such a longer conversation, because I feel like so do you think that people that come through in the Ouija boards are ghosts, like earthbound spirits? Or do you think it's a way to connect to like the spiritual realm? We only have 30 seconds before break, but I don't want to stop talking about the Ouija board.
This is a very valid question. I'm not sure. I've listened to a lot of different mediums speak in different interviews, because I'm a newbie medium. So I'm trying to like be around my type of people, and there's not a lot of mediums just walking around. So you have to like listen to podcasts and find them in books and stuff. But essentially, it seems like people are split down the middle. Some people would say that spirits can become earthbound and they're confused when they die and they don't go into the light and they need to be pushed into the light or whatever. So they're like in this weird, like kind of like a purgatory, but it's not because you're like a sinner or not a sinner. It's because you're like confused. Yeah. Or you're just connecting to the spirit realm when people have already passed over. So
right. See, so I guess you can't
subscribe to both perceptions.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a break, and then we'll see what other topics come up around here. Do you see what I mean when you talk about tarot? Like this, like a Pandora's box of like, what else could we talk about that's weird? But tarot is super beneficial. We're going to talk more about that and how you can incorporate it in your own life when we come back. Welcome back, guys. If you missed it, we just had an enticing discussion about a Ouija board. I don't know.
Side tangent.
Side tangent. We do that a lot. But in the interest of keeping things moving, we are back on the topic of tarot and how to kind of incorporate it in your own life if you want to, and all the fun stuff around it. So we were just kind of dispelling some myths and rumors and not true things about tarot. And over the break, Kelsey was kind enough to draw the collective some cards. So let's talk about what you pulled and what the heck it means.
Yeah, so basically when you're doing tarot or getting your cards read, it all starts with an intention. Like, what would you like to know? So my question for the cards right now, when I pulled these cards, was what's going on in the collective, specifically for our listeners, for the people listening to this show, what kind of advice or encouragement or energy update can we give them from these cards? And then 3 cards came out. I pulled 2 tarot cards, which tarot cards all have different pictures and symbols and meanings that are pretty universal from deck to deck. And then I pulled 1 oracle card, and oracle cards are basically direct messages from your spirit team. Usually oracle cards have the wording on the card, so it's very like direct, like this is the message or this is the advice.
Side question. This is probably a silly question, but so when you pull these cards, do you put both decks and shuffle them together? Or do you just draw 2 from this deck and then draw 1 from this deck?
The second way that you said. So I keep my decks separate. But
Okay.
some people get creative and like mix it all and shuffle it all in together. Okay. But I don't really see how that would work very well if they're different sizes, like physically.
Right.
Because then it's going to be hard to shuffle them and stuff. Because when you're doing tarot, you want to shuffle the cards, cleanse the energy of the deck, say a little like prayer or blessing to call in the guides or spirit team or the universe or God or whatever you believe in. And then you pull the cards by spreading out the cards and pulling them intuitively, or you just keep shuffling the deck until cards start flying out, and whichever one flies out is essentially the card that you need in that moment. So the way that I did these was I shuffled them, and these are the cards that came out as I was shuffling. Back to the purpose of the oracle deck, though. Oracle decks I find to be a little more encouraging and loving. The tarot deck can be just more
very
like
much straightforward,
confrontational.
Yes.
In some instances. It can also be very inspirational, but it can definitely be like, bitch, this is the energy that's going on right now, so take it or leave it kind of energy to the cards. And then the oracle cards are like messages from your angels and never give up and everything's great and blah,
this
blah,
is
blah.
why you're awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So when I pulled the cards, first I pulled an oracle card. And if you are on our Patreon, which we will get to in a few minutes because we're super excited to announce that we just created one, I'll be showing this on the video on Patreon so you can see what the cards actually look like. So the first card that came out was this card from a deck called Moonology, and it's a deck of oracle cards. And it has a picture of a full moon, and it says, "The end of a tough cycle approaches." Meaning, since I asked this question, what's going on with the collective, what's going on with everyone, or the majority at least, is that we're coming to the end of a tough cycle. So if you feel like you've been struggling for the last couple of years or couple months, things have been hard, things have been tough, life has not been easy on you, you had to learn a lot of lessons the hard way, I can definitely relate to this. Then if you're resonating with this message, that means that the end of a tough cycle is approaching. Yay! Which means things are going to get easier from here on out, at least for a little bit, because you have officially up-leveled and you're in the process of up-leveling. So that was the first card that came out. Get a little energy.
I have to tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
Last time we talked on, I think it was after the Joe Vitale show, we did a little FaceTime right after the show. Usually we do that. We're really cute. But I was asking Kelsey about these cards because sometimes we pull cards for each other. I have the most amazing oracle deck. It's which one do I have? I know I'm not on topic, but I don't give a crap right now because I have something cute to say. So the one I have is this Work Your Light by Rebecca Campbell, and it's so pretty. I just love it. It's so pretty. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen me share this like a million times because I can't stand how cute these cards are. But I was looking at her moon deck, Moonology, and I was like, what is that deck called? I love that deck. Everything with the moon, I'm just like obsessed with. And she told me Moonology, right? So I go on Amazon and I look it up and I'm like, yes, there it is. Order, click, done. Came in the mail and it's a book.
Oh no, you ordered the book and not
Double
the
checked.
cards?
I thought I double checked like 3 times.
It's
Now I
supposed
have
to
this-
say Oracle card deck.
I thought it did.
Dang
I
it.
just didn't. I was too excited, I guess.
That's
But I
really
ordered the
funny.
book and I'm not going to return it because obviously
Well,
it's,
now you're just going to read a book and study about the phases of the moon.
I know, right? It's like how to live your life with intention according to the moon phases, which is fantastic. And I love that. But it's like, now I have to go back and look and make sure that I'm getting, can you just hold up the cover so I can see it one more time? Sorry for everybody listening.
It's called Moonology, Oracle card.
Okay.
Cards
Sorry.
and guidebook. Okay.
I will
Anyway.
I will order it. Continue.
Moving on. So the end of a tough cycle approaches. This is like the main theme energetically that the majority of us are in right now, which is lovely because who doesn't like to hear that things are going to get easier because you've already put in the work.
Right.
And then to support this theme, I pulled 2 cards from my tarot deck, which is called the Wild Unknown Tarot. And this tarot deck is really beautiful. If you go onto our Patreon and watch the videos there, you can see like the actual cards because I'm holding them up in a video right now. But 2 cards with very, very different energies came out. And when I pulled them, what I'm able to do when I look at the cards is decipher the order that they should go in as far as like visually looking at them and what it means. So these cards kind of came out as like a timeline. So in the middle of the timeline was the card I just pulled, which is the main theme that a tough cycle is approaching for a lot of people. But then the card I pulled to kind of support like what was happening before this tough cycle was ending was the tough cycle itself. And then this card came out that is called the 10 of Swords.
Are those eyeballs? What is happening?
This card is so scary, you guys. I'm going to try and describe it to you. There's like eyeballs and worms and teeth, and they're all black, and they're like scribbled onto a card. It's like hand-drawn artistry in this card deck. And then there's 10 swords like piercing all this nasty, gross stuff. And it just looks like a scary, scary, dark situation. And the meaning of this card is, well, in the traditional tarot deck, it's depicted by a person laying face down with 10 swords in their spine, which is pretty scary. But basically it represents energetically like you're just tired, you're exhausted, you're beat, you're done. Like life has won and you have been defeated, or whatever challenges you've been going through have just like sucked the life out of you.
So this is the tough cycle that you got the oracle card saying was ending.
Yeah. So this is the energy that's phasing out. Luckily, this is the energy that's going away. This is what we're getting over.
For anyone listening that knows about tarot or maybe creates their own decks, I know a lot of people create their own decks. Why do you have to make it so disturbing? If it's supposed to, if it's supposed to be like, well, your energy is restrained, then draw something like that. Why do you have to draw eyeballs and teeth and swords and just weird? Like, I get why people. I don't agree that it's anything but of the light, if that's what you want to get from it and if that's your intention. But I understand because there is a devil card, there is a death card, there is the hanged man, you know, and then now this with the eyeballs and the teeth. I can understand why people would see that and be like, why would you even bother? That's clearly evil. Even though if you take a deeper look, you know that it's not. But I'm just, you know, for all those artists out there, could you make it a little more like cute?
A little less terrifying. Well, this deck has some imagery that's like, whoa, that's hardcore.
But I guess if that's your style, because as I mentioned, and as most people probably know, there's a ton of different styles of decks you could get depending on what resonates with you.
And they all have the same meanings, but depicted with different artistry.
And so you're supposed to pick it based on, yes, exactly. You're supposed to pick based on what your energy's, just like crystals, right? You go into the crystal shop and you see what colors and what kind of crystals call to you. This is the same thing. You have to see what kind of deck calls to you. Mine is very pretty and pink and spiritual, but it's technically an oracle deck. And I also have a traditional tarot deck, but I don't think I would venture out into teeth and eyeballs. Unless but for some people, maybe they look at that and they're like, wow, this is really awesome. I need this deck. Like some people have skulls and some people have, like, I know there's like millions of different kinds. Anyway, I looked at that and it just kind of jarred me for a second. Is the other one nicer? Please
Yeah,
tell
the
me.
other one's really great, but we haven't gotten there yet. So back to
Sorry.
where we were. I just actually realized that this card is not the 10 of swords, it's the 9 of swords, which comes
Oh,
before the 10 of swords in the tarot deck. So the 9 of swords is actually more about dark visions and anguish. So it's like basically this card coming out with this question is saying that in the past, we have been really worried, like maybe not sleeping well, having nightmares, insomnia, worries, or just being in low vibrational states of like guilt, despair, fear, depression. And you've been really battling with yourself. So this is a card that actually has a call to action that's turn to others for help, find joy, and reach out.
mm-hmm.
So like the tarot has a silver lining. It's not just going to be like, this is the energy you're in, like sucks for you. Basically, it's all advice to help you. So
Yeah.
this card is basically saying, if you've been in this energy, like find joy, reach out, get help. It's okay. Like this is only temporary. This is what's going on with you right now in case you were curious and wanted to do something about it. So that's the energy that we're phasing out of, which is awesome. And then the card that came out after to kind of describe like where we're headed and what we're moving on towards now is a card called Temperance, which in this deck is really beautifully depicted by a bird. And it's almost like crying tears, but the tears are turning into fire. And it looks like it's representing alchemy. It's a really colorful card. And Temperance in the tarot represents healing and nurturing and alchemy. So you're turning your tears into passion. You're turning your defeats into wisdom and lessons. You're turning this heavy, dark energy into something that you can use as a force for good in your own life. So basically, this card is saying that we're moving into a new phase of healing and integrating everything that we've learned and becoming our next best version of ourselves because of everything that we've been through. So yeah, I just want to share that message with you guys because it's really beautiful and really encouraging.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it.
It is.
I feel so much better safe with my oracle cards because they just say nice things to me. But yeah, I do see it's like the end of the cycle is coming. We're evolving. We're always evolving. And I can definitely see where now would be a time that these cards would come up because there's a lot of crazy stuff happening right now.
Yeah, there's been a lot of healing and now we're entering into a phase of integrating and leveling up, which is really cool.
And we can all relate and be encouraged by that. Yay! I love it.
Yay! So if you want to see those cards, go to patreon.com/highvibe and all of our videos of past episodes are there with bonus content and all this fun stuff. If you don't know what Patreon is, we just created one and we're super excited about it because it's a way that you guys can get more content from us, become supporters of the show, and we can have like a really special tribe over there on Patreon that we can't have necessarily over the radio like right now. So Lynnsey, do you want to tell them a little bit about it?
I mean, I guess, but you kind of spearheaded this whole thing. But I can tell them what I do know about it. I know that it's a great way for people to connect with, with us. And it's also, from our perspective, one of the best ways we could think of to keep our show kind of the best it can be, because it is an investment on our part. And so any support we can get is always welcome. And we have some nice, I don't know, they're freebies, bonuses that we give people for being part of our little High Vibe tribe. Oh my God, did we just make that up? Did you make that up?
High Vibe tribe. You just made it up right now.
How did we not see that before? High Vibe tribe. Okay. High Vibe tribe. Okay. I don't know what the address is. Oh yes, I do. Patreon.com/High Vibe. So patreon.com/High Vibe. It'll take you to the sign up page and everything that you kind of get for signing up. It's very affordable too. We have 3 tiers, right?
Yeah, it's basically a tiny, okay, I'll describe it.
Take over, please.
Getting all flustered. Basically, our Patreon page is a way for you guys to become financial supporters of the show. And as we know, money is energy. This show actually cost me and Lynnsey a lot of money to create and run because we pay all the people who make this show happen. It's not just like, oh, Lynnsey and Kelsey have this cute hobby where they just do this show for fun. Like, we're investing a lot of money to be able to provide this information to you guys. especially right now because we're just so new. So if you want to support us and be more involved with us and get all these special bonuses, then Patreon is the place to go and become a supporter of our show. So for a small monthly donation, basically, in exchange for that, you guys get longer episodes of the show, you get video content of the show, and you get bonus content, and you get all the behind the scenes. So like what you guys probably don't know is that before and after each show, Lynnsey and I are still talking about this topic and going at it for an extra 15, sometimes 30 minutes.
Well, for instance, last week we had Joe Vitale. We spent 10, 15, I think it was more like 18 minutes with him.
It was like 20 minutes.
After the show closed, talking more about stuff that we didn't get to in the show. And that happens a lot because this is just an hour show. So it's usually we go beyond that and we have a lot more stuff to talk about. So we had Joe for a few extra minutes, and that's going to all be on Patreon as well. Every time we have a guest, it's bonus stuff up there.
Yeah, and even when we don't have a guest, I mean, if you're just curious about me and Lynnsey and you want to hear what we talk about behind the scenes, on the commercial breaks, and after the show, then you can be totally in and be a part of the show by joining our Patreon. So yeah, the link is spelled like this, patreon.com/high-vibe. Or /high vibe. But there's 3 different tiers. So it's really cool. If you just want to be like a basic supporter and like subscribe with the minimum amount, that's totally cool. You still get all the extended episodes, and that's really awesome because you get extra bonus content from us every week.
Unedited. Did you say it was unedited?
Yeah. So we just like put up the videos that are like raw. So me and Lynnsey hop on Zoom. We're just like talking about stupid stuff. And then we plan the show, and then we do the show, and then there's commercial breaks, and then we do more after the show because we never have enough time in the show. Oh my God. I just said the show like a bajillion times.
It happens. Yeah. But yeah, so that's the base tier. Now what's the middle range one? That's 9.
The middle one has basically the same thing. So you get all the bonus content, plus you get a free copy of my book, #ActuallyICan, The Art of Affirming Yourself to Greatness. And you get a free hypnosis audio from Lynnsey. So we're going to personally send that to you when you subscribe to that tier. And then the highest tier is, of course, the most exciting. And this is where you get all the stuff that we already talked about in the first 2 tiers, but also you get like, for as long as you're a member of this tier, you get an everlasting 20% discount on all of mine and Lynnsey's digital products. So this is my courses like Manifesting Masterclass and Radical Self-Love, and also all of Lynnsey's hypnosis recordings on her shop. So you have 20% off of everything, which if you enroll in Manifesting Masterclass and you get 20% off, that's $200 off. So this is like a huge value just for supporting us on our show. So yeah, go check it out. It's really fun. We're super excited to have you guys as supporters. And we wanted to do something special for anyone who joins today because we just put the page up. We're really excited about it. We're trying to hit some goals here to help us support the show. And basically, anyone who subscribes to any tier today as a Patreon will get entered into a drawing. And then whoever wins this drawing gets a personalized free hypnosis audio from Lynnsey. So whatever it is that you're struggling with or your goal is, Lynnsey is going to create a personalized hypnosis just for you and then send it to you. And I'm going to give a free tarot reading to whoever the winner is.
Hang on, Kels. I know we said we were going to do 1, but I think we should do 2 people. Let's do 2 people. 2 people. We're going to draw 2 names.
Okay, let's do it.
I was going to say 3, but I know you'd kill me. 2 names. We're going to draw 2 names, and we're going to give them all really cool stuff. So go to Patreon /high vibe. Any tier will get put in the drawing, and I really hope you win. All of you.
Anyone who, let's make this really official. So right now it's let's just say starting now until 4:00 tomorrow Eastern time. So that'll be Tuesday, the 17th Eastern time. Anyone who becomes a Patreon before them will get entered into this contest.
So it's 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Correct. Okay. Well, on that note, let's take another break. We'll come back and finish up our conversation about tarot and get the rest of this info. Like what I want to know and talk about with you is how to, if people are listening and they want to try and kind of draw their own cards, what to look for, when to do it, how to do it. So we'll talk about all that and more when we come right back.
Yay. Hello, hello. It's Kelsey here, and we're really excited to be back here with you guys talking about tarot. We kind of went on a little tangent to not explain, what's the word that I'm looking for? To introduce our new Patreon to the world because we're super excited to really be a family with you guys and to give you extra bonus content and to make your lives that much better each week. And yeah, it's going to be a fun way for us to connect. So head over to patreon.com/high vibe if you're interested in supporting the show. If you've been liking it and it's providing value for your life, then we hope to see you over there. And right now, we're still talking about tarot. So Lynnsey wanted to touch on how we can pull cards for ourselves. Let's say you're like intrigued by this. You're like, ooh, I want to get a tarot deck. I want to pull some cards for myself here and there, get some insight. Well, basically, the way to do that. Well, would you like to explain? Because I know you pull cards for yourself.
Yeah, I can speak to this well because I'm not an expert, and I think most people listening probably aren't, but they're intrigued and they want to know more about it. So I'll just tell them what I do. I, as well as probably everybody listening, knows that everyone has a level of intuition. Everyone has this inner compass and this higher wisdom, whatever you want to call it. And so, with intention, pick a deck that speaks to you and that you really resonate with, something that you can get excited about purchasing, like my Moonology that I've totally failed on purchasing, but I'm going to get it. But pick one that you like, and then just whether it's Oracle or Tarot, or Tarot. How do you say
Tomato, tarot, same shit.
I also know somebody that says Tarot, and I don't know which way.
Yeah, some people say tarot, and that sounds even more strange.
I'm going to say tarot because I'm white, and and that's the only way I know how to say tarot. Pick a tarot deck that you really like, and use, with intention. Just say, you can ask a question, or you can just make it random. Just say, I trust my intuition to pull the exact right card that I need for today. And I know that it's not that much different than, I know that in the Christian religion, a lot of people, because I have wonderful Christian friends who love to start their morning opening their Bible to a random page, knowing that the page that they land on is going to be perfect for them. So it's kind of the same idea. Whatever card you pull is going to be perfect for you because that's what you're intending to happen. And then you just kind of read it. And most Oracle decks will come with a book that will explain each card. Find the card and just read more about it. That's really all I do. And if I like that one, sometimes I'll draw 2 or 3. Sometimes one will be just enough, right?
Yeah, I like it. I pull cards for myself sometimes, but I find it's very hard to be objective. And
and that's the other thing I was going to say too. Most of the time when me and you are together, I'm never going to draw a card for myself. I'm going to have you do it, and you usually have me draw one for you because our emotions are not attached to each other's situation. So if I have something that I'm really going through, and that's the other thing too, is you don't really want to do this practice when you're super depressed or crying your eyes out, because chances are it's not coming from the most objective place in the world, and you can't really see the result. Usually when we're in that state, we're looking for one answer.
You're going to see what you want to see, basically.
Well, true. You're looking for one answer, and whatever card you pull, if it's not in line with that one answer, you're just going to keep drawing cards until you find one that works, right? I mean, everybody's done this at some point, and that's not necessarily what you want to do, because the one card you're picking is the one that's supposed to be for you, or the 2 or the 3 if you draw them all at the same time and you have that intention that it's going to be 3. So objectivity and emotional attachment, and that's pretty much it. Watch your emotional state and see how objective you can be. But that's why it might just be beneficial to go see a professional. Just like with hypnotherapy, you can self-hypnosis, you can do that, but you have to make sure that you're the driver and the passenger at the same time. Whereas with regular hypnosis, you can just relax and be the passenger and go along for the ride. And it's the same thing with tarot. You don't have to worry about where your mental state is, because the person that is working with you can hold that space for you. Right? So let's go to Kelsey, because she's the expert here. So what does a professional draw look like?
I like that analogy. Well, when I'm doing tarot sessions with people, basically I ask them, what is your intention with coming to me? What would you like to know? What would you like help with? What are you struggling with? How can I help you? What do you want to ask the cards? What do you want to know from your guides? And then I'll say a little prayer to call in their spirit team. And in that process, sometimes I'll already pick up on messages and people that are maybe on their spirit team, like aunts and uncles and grandpas and Jesus and whoever it is. Like you can have anyone on your spirit team. And then
Grandpa
I'll kind of
Jesus.
bless Grandpa and Jesus. Exactly. Then I'll pull some cards. Sometimes if they don't have a particular question, they're just like, I don't know, I was just curious. I just want to see what's going on. Then I'll ask the cards, I'll ask their spirit team, hey, what does this person need to know right now that's going to be for their highest good? What advice can these cards give them that's going to help them the most right now?
Yes.
So I'll just start with a broad question like that, pull some cards, see what's going on. And then from there, people usually have specific questions about like, well, what should I do about my love life? I really want to change careers, but like, I'm not sure. So like anything that you care about in that moment, we can explore potential timelines with the tarot cards. So we can be like, let's say you're thinking of leaving your job, but you're unsure. We can make 2 timelines of cards. Like, here's what happens if you decide to leave your job. Here are the energies of how it could potentially play out. This is like the major dominant timeline that we're connected to right now. Or if you decide to stay, here's how this could play out. And I'm never a psychic to tell people, oh, this is exactly what's going to happen. Like, this is your fate. This is your destiny. Because no psychic can say that, because you have free will. So let's say we pulled cards and you were like, oh, I don't like how that looks. Then you can change your mind. You can go in a different direction. This isn't like a concrete thing. If you make a different decision, you're going to have connect to a different timeline. You know,
it's true to say that the cards are accurate, but the add-on to that would be the cards are accurate if you stay on the same path you're on now, which no one ever is forcing you to be on any path. You can be on any path you want to, which is why like telling the future, I think it's possible if you stay on the path you're on now, and everything is changeable. Nothing's set in stone. You make different choices. You're on a different path. So yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because some people are like, well, how can it know? How can it just, but you know, it's all about energy and where you are right now. If you stay making the same choices and doing the same things that you're doing now, when these cards are being read for you, then this is most likely the outcome. But if you change it up, it will change with you. I like that you mentioned that. That's very important to know.
Because I think that's when people can get scared. Like, oh, I don't want someone to tell me that something bad is going to happen. Like, no psychic can be like 100% certain this is your path, because you're the one in charge of your path. So if you like what you see, great. If you don't, great. You can change it. So either way, it's helpful information for you to just kind of look into those timelines and explore different energies. So a lot of people come with questions about love or finances or health or just any major area of like the human experience that they want help with, or they want to change or improve or know about. So that's kind of my intention. And then for like 30 or 40 minutes, we pull cards and ask different questions, and I explain what the cards mean when they come out. But I also, as an intuitive person, get psychic downloads when I see certain cards that pertain just to that person, like stuff that wouldn't be in the book. So let's say we pull a card and the definition is A, B, and C, but then I get a download that's like, also it means this for this person, then I can relay that to them. So that's kind of the benefit of having somebody pull your cards for you who is intuitive, because they can go into a little more information and go deeper with the cards. And for me, acting as a channel, the cards are one way to give you messages, but when I'm doing this and I'm asking these questions, I'm also just getting direct downloads from source or your spirit team and telling you words that you need to hear. So it's like I am a card in addition to all the cards.
And that's what I've heard is like, and what I've experienced with you is like a psychic or somebody who's actually highly attuned to intuition and psychic abilities are able to enrich your experience by adding so many layers to just a deck of cards that, you know, are made in a factory somewhere. Like there's no magic to them. It's all about the person and the intention and the intuition behind the cards.
Yep. Good. So I like doing readings for people, because usually everyone leaves a reading with me feeling like they can sleep better at night. They have less anxiety. They feel like they're going the right direction. They're on the right path, or at least they have clarity with what they need to switch up and do differently if they want a different result. So it's just really helpful. And really intuitive and pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it helps people.
We have a couple minutes left. What's the coolest reading that you've ever had done or that you've ever given someone?
Well, I predicted that my cousin would get into nursing school, which is great because she did. And also, this lady came to me because she was really worried that she wouldn't have a baby because she was saying that they weren't getting pregnant and they were having all these problems. And then all the cards were like, just wait, like be patient, like your time will come. And so we're still waiting to see if she's going to have that baby, but I'm pretty sure she will. So I can't wait for her to come back and be like, oh my God, well, she cried during the reading because she felt so relieved that like, it was at least still a possibility that would happen.
And if we're talking about mindset, like, hello, if you get confirmation from something you absolutely believe in, that's half the battle, is getting your mind in line with that thing that you want. So that's super powerful, very powerful.
Yeah. So if you guys want to do a reading with me, first enter our Patreon drawing, become a Patreon because then you can get it for free. But if not, they're only $75. We hop on a video call. And if you want to set one up, you can DM me on Instagram, which I'm just at Kelsey Aida, or you can email me, kelsey@kelseyaida.com, and we can set you up with a reading.
And while you're checking out her on Instagram, follow me on Instagram at Lynnsey Robinson.
Yeah, follow Lynnsey too because she's amazing.
Follow us both so you get like a 7-layer dip of awesome. But also, I wanted to mention before we close that next week, what, you're laughing at my 7-layer dip?
Yeah.
Of awesome. Next week, we have a human design expert. So if anybody's interested in human design, wants to know more about it, if you have a human design, we have the girl, the lady, the woman, the person here talking all about it, teaching us what it means and how to read your chart. So human design next week. We love you guys so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe wherever you're listening or bookmark this, and we will see you guys next week.
Yay. Okay, guys, have a great week, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye.